We're not going to use the stage, and we appreciate each and every one of you being here this afternoon. I'd like to just share a couple of comments about personal experience, and really ties back to what I think our speakers were talking about this morning in terms of what it is to be a global citizen. You may or may not be aware of really how this project came about, but about a year ago, any of a number of us as principals, heads of schools, were at a KHDA meeting, and as we walked in that morning and picked up our name tag, all of us had a flag of a country on the back. And at that point we were drafted. And it gave us an opportunity to come together for the 7 of us who've worked together over the course of this year. It gave us the opportunity to come together and focus on Iran. And there were really 2 primary objectives that I think that KHDA had as it relates to this Lighthouse project. The first objective was for us to, and the 10 teams that studied countries, were to take a look specifically at what are those things that have happened in those countries that have enabled them to do a better job in terms of promoting the quality of the student learning experience as measured by TIMSS or measured by some of the other international assessments, PEARLs. But I'm going to say to you that as much as we've enjoyed learning about Iran, maybe the second objective is the one that I think is the most noteworthy one, and it was really the one that was talked about on the stage by our presenters earlier today, and that is that we had an opportunity to make a connection with one another. The study was really to focus on Iran, and I suppose you could argue that that was matters of the head. But the connection that we made as heads of schools with one another and the relationship that we've developed throughout the course of this project, those are matters, as Dr. Abdullah said, those are matters of the heart. And so we had educators from Iran, we had educators from the UK, we had educators from India, we had educators from the US. We've come from a wide variety of backgrounds in terms of our professional experience. We had phenomenal assistance from Luke Naismith, who is on the KHDA team. And I would say to you that what is it to be a global citizen? It's to respect and own your identity, to know who you are, but have the confidence of knowing when you're in the presence of others from many other places, that you have the opportunity to learn from those people and come together to collaborate in a way that can produce good results. And so, I would like to just say to you today that we are the beneficiaries of the time that we have spent together. And if you have not had the opportunity to get actively involved, because I think KHDA intends to look at other projects as they look ahead to 2016-17 that are going to give people an opportunity to get connected in really meaningful and relevant ways. This is a little bit of a commercial to encourage you to think seriously about that. It's the age-old adage that you're going to get out of it just exactly what you put into it. And I think we've been probably the greatest beneficiaries of this work. I've got a group of people who have now become not only professional colleagues, but they've become friends. And we anticipate that the working relationship that was forged through this project this year is actually going to continue as we look ahead to next year. Which of these countries is the biggest? Iran, Pakistan, or Afghanistan? Iran. How much bigger than Afghanistan and Pakistan? Any idea? Yeah, about twice as big. Yeah, Iran is actually the size of both Afghanistan and Pakistan together. Which of these countries would you say has the highest population? Iran, Germany, or Egypt? I've heard Egypt, I've heard Iran, Germany. Germany's slightly larger, but all 3 countries have a population of approximately 80 million, about 80 million people. This is for those of you who have majored in geography, okay? What countries have a land border with Iran? what countries have a land border with Iran? Turkmenistan, yes. Pakistan, yes. Iraq, Turkey, Azerbaijan, Turkmenistan, and Armenia. Yes, fantastic. Seven for seven. And this is the one that I was fascinated by. How far from Dubai to the coastal port of Bandar Lake? How far? How far are we across the water to Iran? 50 kilometers. Just a little bit further than that, okay? 150. So not far at all, 150 kilometers. Yes, yeah, less than a drive from Dubai to Abu Dhabi. So, despite being, and in all candor, despite being only 150 kilometers away, for my experience as someone from the US who's been in Dubai for 4 years, it could just as well have been on the other side of the moon relative to what I really knew about Iran and what I really knew about the education system. And that's partly why this has been such an amazing experience. I now have an Iranian colleague, colleagues from the Indian school, colleagues from the British school, all as a result of this experience. So by way of introduction, we would like to really do this in 3 parts, and we're going to be very sensitive to staying on time. 1:45 is our completion time today. But we would like to, first of all, give you a very quick overview of the education system in Iran. We'd secondly like to talk about what are those steps that have been taken, particularly in the last 10 to 15 years, to dramatically improve and change the quality of education that's being provided in Iran. And then what are the implications, most importantly, for what it is that as we've studied Iran, we can look at and learn from their experience, and where are there opportunities for potential application to the UAE and specifically to Dubai. So at this time, I'd like to turn this over to a colleague of mine from Credence High School. Deepika has been in Dubai, and this is her first opportunity to present at KHDA, as she's been here for about 2.5 weeks. So let's welcome her to the UAE.
Thank you. Thank you, Brent. Thank you so much. Iran, yes, the land of the Aryans, as it's called, a country known for its carpets, its caviar, but most importantly, in a country where 70% of the population is below 30. And that's what was exciting to read and study about Iran, because a country which is focusing at the youth and preparing them for the future. I'll take you briefly through it. It has a centralized system of education, very, very well planned. There is a ministry which is looking after the entire education system, right from grade 1 to 12. The ministry not only designs the curriculum, it also the books, and also finances the schools. So you can see that there is a uniform system of education in Iran. And as I said, 85% when the focus has come into education, we will see slowly how the graph will move. In 2008, 85% of the population was said to be determined to be literate, and see how it is moving ahead. And in 2015, it's 93%. The credit obviously goes to a very, very well-planned and a well-defined system, because this hasn't happened overnight. The Ministry of Education, as I said, is responsible for the system right from grade 1 to grade 12. There is a Ministry of Science, Research and Technology. They look after the colleges and the universities. Ministry of Health, Treatment, Medical Education. They look after the schools, the medical schools per se. The system of education earlier was 534, and it has now been changed to 633, and this change has come in 2011. It's important to note that the changes are coming over the years, so you can see, and what we saw is that there is a thinking organization, people who are planning and thinking and implementing for growth and for change. The basic education, it is compulsory till grade 9. And it is a public education, as we learned, is free from grade 1 to grade 9, to grade 12, apologies. The basic education system is divided into a 6-year education program, then a 3-year lower secondary program, and a 3-year upper secondary program. The upper secondary, which we would relate, would be grade 10, 11, and 12. In the upper secondary system, we will see that it is a 3 years in length, which I said, and they have a choice, the children have a choice to either get into the academics area, or the technical area, or the vocational skills. And the students at the end of grade 9, how do they choose and decide which area they need to excel in is the exam that they take at the end of grade 9, and that is how some of them go into the academic area excellence, and some into technical excellence, and some into vocational or skill area. However, when they do decide to come into these various fields in upper secondary, there is once again a very defined syllabi and a curriculum, and we see that in the first year students in the academic and technical branches, they do have a common curriculum. They differentiate as they keep moving forward and specializing, and that is how they focus in the academic branch only in the second and third year. What we would relate to as commerce, humanities, science, they move into experiential sciences, humanity and literature, Islamic theology, or mathematics and physics. So we can see that it's very, very well structured and focused. Students in the technical field, they have a choice. They specialize in industry, business and vocational, that is services, or agriculture. Upper secondary, I will take you a little, I'll come back to that a little later. Let's look at the university entry. I was learning from my colleague here, there is a very, very well-defined competitive exam called concours. And it is this exam which decides the children who will go for university education. I am told it is an exam where there are multiple choices. It is an OMR sheet. It is divided into 2 halves. One is the general paper, and then it becomes, there are also subject-specific papers. Check me where I go wrong, yeah? So this shows, I was talking to her and I said, is it something like the SAT? And is it like an aptitude? She said, no, it's very much more defined because it becomes even subject-specific. So this is the exam that the children take, the young, I would now say they are young adults. And each student is thereafter assigned a further education program based on his or her score. Now, when they were looking at this, when Iran has been looking at progress and talking of the future, they said that we need to now re-engineer, look back and see what more can we do, what focuses we need to do in. And we learned that after several years of debate, they have now adopted a law, the guidelines, to remove this national university entrance examination. However, as of now, it has not come into place. They are still continuing with the concours, but changes are sure to come. I go back to the same. I talked about the concours. I talked about how they further get into the areas and they study and they decide. And now we come to the third point, which is, I thought, a great focus point, that Iran's education system has been re-engineered. The key word here is re-engineered to support and promote economic development. After several years of debate, our friend told us they have decided, as we talked about, removing this examination, and they are now moving forward. In terms of languages, we are all familiar. Persian is the language, that is the official language. We asked her what is the difference between Farsi and Persian, and we were told Farsi is a culture, while Persian is the language, but it's difficult to take the two away from them. They closely weave into the other. Arabic language, as the language of the Quran, is taught from grade 6 to 12. And in addition, the children take in, right from grade 7 to 12, a foreign language. And most children opt for English here as their language, which as a foreign language. This will give you a brief trivia, a history of their developments, the reforms that have come in. I wouldn't talk much about it, but what we would do is we would share the PPT with you. It will give you an idea. But we've seen that teaching methods, school books, teacher skills, and facilities, they realized they need to focus on this. When they decided, they realized that we need to improve the system of education, prepare our children to be global citizens, prepare them for the future. The ministry decided that these are our focus points, that is teacher education, books, and skills and facilities. And as of today, Iran is not taking part in the PISA, but is doing exceedingly well in both TIMSS and PEARLS. My colleague, Richard, will take you forward. Just briefly, Richard, just 2 more slides, I'll take you forward there, where he'll take you forward later on, telling you more about what Iran has done regarding TIMSS and PISA. We have seen there are a large number of private universities. I am told even private schools have come up. However, there is a strong body in the Ministry of Education who is supervising that the schools continue to do well. I'm told that just like KHDA, they come in and supervise the schools. The head office is in Tehran, but they have regional offices everywhere. There is a regional office in the middle of the Ministry of Education, even in Dubai, who is supervising the system of education. Teacher education, we'd all know the magic happens in the classrooms, and the magic has to happen by the teachers, and that is their focus point. Teacher education has been taken up very, very seriously, and teachers are being prepared to teach the 3 levels. There's the primary school level, the lower secondary level, and the upper secondary level. To be a teacher, there is a 4-year course after school. It is a 4-year integrated course after school, that is after grade 12, which not only teaches you the teacher curriculum, the teacher education curriculum, but also enables the candidate, the teachers, the young teachers, to also excel in their respective subject areas. So it's a 4-year merged course, and to be a teacher, the curriculum, as we talked about, the education system, the curriculum has been changing. Young children are giving more options now to select fields of their choice. We are seeing it all over the world, as today we learned, that the future is something that we can't see. We only know that we have to prepare our children for things that you and me can't see right now, and Iran is seeing that very, very clearly. In the past 5 years, that is why technical and vocational education, skill-based education, much more than solid academic education, has been given a focus point so that life skills can be used to empower the youth. A wonderful, that is what we read about, is that Iran is one of the few developing countries with great success in girl education. I think that speaks volumes about the country and its focus point. And in 1998, the percentage of females who enrolled in universities across Iran, it even exceeded the percentage of males. My apologies, we could have taken a later data. We didn't have it beyond 1998. But obviously, if it happened in 1998, if this was the picture, you and me can guess that by now, the picture must have become even brighter. I now hand over the mic to my colleague. He'll take you through that what has been done in Iran to improve the system of education. Thank you.
Thank you very much. What is being done to improve the education system of Iran? I'll just go through with you. The reform in the education system of Iran is based on the lofty ideals of the Islamic government and focuses on the country's 2025 vision, in which the country is expected to promote to the highest possible level economic, scientific, and technological advancements. The following represent the main improvement strategies that have positively impacted education in Iran. The country has institutionalized a holistic view, an all-round view of education with an approach to achieve excellence in all aspects of the general formal education system. Iran has initiated the planning, adoption, and implementation of a national curriculum. There is a renewed emphasis on teacher training, human resource development, management and governance, financial resource allocation, the provision of educational spaces, and research and evaluation. Iran is developing and institutionalizing educational equity in various regions of the country and strengthening education in border areas. There is an emphasis on the empowerment of teachers and students by increasing the quality of educational opportunities. Iran is reinforcing and institutionalizing increased participation and accountability. Iran is developing and deepening a culture of research and evaluation. The Iranian education system is adopting the utilization of modern technologies across the country's general formal education system. An emphasis is being placed on the continuous development of teaching and non-teaching staffs, ideological, scientific, and professional qualifications and competencies. An emphasis on the effective use of curricular capacity, teaching materials, the national ICT network, libraries, camp opportunities, and extracurricular activities to promote the student learning experience. Take appropriate measures to recruit, train, and deploy qualified, committed human resources in the learning environments. Deliver counseling services at all levels of schooling to boost the students' physical and mental health. Expand on the pre-primary education, especially in deprived and needy areas, through participation of private sector. Enable students with special needs to access the provision of diverse and flexible quality education. Design and develop a curricula appropriate to the needs and roles of male and female students. Design and develop a flexible education and training curriculum appropriate to the personality traits, environmental situation, and diversified talents of students in order to help the gifted students to flourish. Plan and implement a comprehensive field selection guidance and talent identification system in order to channel students towards selection of the fields required in the country's present and future needs appropriate to their talents, interests, and potential. I'll turn over to my colleague, Neeta, to take you through the education system in the context of Dubai.
Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you, Richard, for this. All right, we've been living in Iran for quite some time, for the last 30 to 40 minutes, and I've been living in Iran for the last 2 to 3 weeks since the time I've been researching. How many of you here are from Iran? Raise your hands. So we've told you all that you know already, is it? All right, so I'm happy that we have others here. Now, what I'm going to do is take you through a bit about Dubai. How many of you are new to Dubai here? Only one, all right, so the others know about it, yeah. So I'm going to talk about the growth of education sector in UAE. The education system is very, very new. In 1952, there were very few formal public schools. Since then, it has grown in leaps and bounds, and it encompasses many levels of primary, secondary, and collegiate, and many different curricula. Some facts about Dubai. Did you know that UAE leads with 511 international schools, an increase from 2014, where it had 439 international schools? And the number of private schools in Dubai will increase from 169 to 250 by 2020. Now, there were 11 new schools opened this year itself, which is quite commendable for this country to be so young and to be growing so fast, and it's making great strides in education. Oh, it's all because of the vision of His Highness Sheikh Zayed bin Sultan Al Nahyan, who said, "The education of our people is a great wealth, We are proud of our educated nation because through knowledge and science, we will open the horizons of a glorious future. He had a great vision, a great visionary leader. Now, what is that is driving us, driving the education in UAE? The national agenda. Again, by Our Highness, His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, Vice President and Prime Minister of UAE and ruler of Dubai. He has provided schools with concrete targets to work on. I'm sure you all have targets given to each school. You all know your targets. So we are all working towards it. And this was a 7-year agenda which leads to the Vision 2021. And we have the national agenda laid out here. We have the PISA, we have the TIMSS, we have the completion of high school education, we have attending pre-primary education, high skills in Arabic language, high quality teachers, highly effective school leadership, and university foundation program. Now, what I would like to particularly focus on now is our national agenda. I'm sure you all know that it's the vision of this country to have UAE as one of among the top 20 countries by 2021 in PISA and among the top 15 in TIMSS. And this is a target for Dubai. Now, if you see the 2012 target, we are finished with that. We've also finished with our 2015 exams, but we are waiting for the results. And we better meet this target. And going to 2018, you see the targets there. Now, this research shows that in order to make an improvement of 40 points, it means you're progressing by 1 school year. It's huge, it's massive. If you want to make a 20-point increase there, then your students should accelerate by half a school year, 6 months ahead. The progress that's required here. So it's really massive. It's a big target for us to meet. And that's why we're doing this research. We're studying about different countries, and we are seeing what the other countries are doing and how are they progressing, and what is that we can get from there back to Dubai. You can see the trends in Dubai. In PISA 2009 and 2012, it has shown an increasing trend, and we want to keep that on. Now, my question to all of you is, having heard about Iran, what is that we can bring from Iran to Dubai? You can I'll give you 2 minutes. You can talk to your colleagues. What is that you want to bring? What is that you've heard about Iran is something you're thinking we can bring it to Dubai? Just talk to your colleagues beside you, friends. You have an answer? Yes, thank you.
Actually, we can bring our new talents of our students. You know that Iranian students are very intelligent, and if we can use their intelligence here, we can improve the educational system in Dubai.
So you mean to say we get more Iranians into Dubai?
Yeah.
Is that what you're telling? All right. Yeah.
What I have heard about Iran is it's quite hospitable. The people there are very humble, no doubt whatever they have achieved, and they have a great legacy. So we must learn from them, and we should bring the cooperation, love, affection, and good people from there.
Thank you for that. Anyone else? Yes.
What I like, first I would like to appreciate Dubai being the leading nation in academics. However, it would be nice to have collaboration with the good practices from Iran and sharing also our practices from Dubai with Iran.
Okay. Thank you. I think good suggestions, but I'm now going to call somebody who's come all the way from Iran. Have you, Hafsani? She's going to speak to you, and she's going to give us some tips on what we can bring from Iran to Dubai. Come in, Hafsani.
Thank you. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. It's my pleasure to talk about the improvement of my country in the matter of education. Just for your information, I would like to say that Iran has improved during the past years, but the most improvement was shown in the matter of teams and PISA, especially in primary level. If we look for 1997 to 2007, 1995 to 2007 results of the teams, we can find out that about 56 scores was increased in primary level in science grade 4, which is really a huge improvement. And also the mathematics was increased 15 scores, again in primary. It shows that we have started the improvement since 2011, and it shows itself in the primary, and hopefully in the future we will see it in the secondary as well. I just would like to share with you that as the time that the result and finding of the teams 2007 was published, the decision makers started to share it with the society, educational society, the teachers, and all the stakeholders to find some solutions for the improvement in this result. The main step was that they established a national center of educational assessment was established in Iran, which is very important for each country that I think that to have a kind of research, educational research center, national educational research center. So in this center, one of the main activities was informing the universities, research institutes, and researchers about teams and pairs result. So sharing with this result with the others also was another good steps. At the level of the schools and teachers, dissemination of release test instruments in the line level means the teachers was another step, and encouraging them to use these test items was also another step. Fortifying school-based cooperation in implementation activities of the study, providing special resources and budget for development of classroom teachers' knowledge and skills, preparing an in-service training program for elementary and lower secondary school teachers based on teams and PISA test also has been decided. Paving the way to administer national examination test based on teams finding. It might be interesting that we have national kind of teams in our country, which is administered by the government, by the Ministry of Education. So every year, all the students in schools participate. This is a yearly basis, on a yearly basis. Participate in teams, national kind of teams, in the, which is published, which is administered by the Ministry of Education, and also identifying the high performance schools in teams, as well as reasons related to their success, in order to introduce them as schools that could be replicated by other schools, which is the same that now we are doing in UAE to see that what are the best practices around the world, what are the schools and countries around the world who, which improved in the result of their teams and the standardized tests. So I think that this is a very good step toward the national agenda, and it's very good that we have a team here, we have a bigger team, we have a what works, and we have all the people around the UAE who are really willing toward the national agenda. Thank you.
Thank you, Aksani. Thank you. One thing what for me was really very stunning was that they have these mocks, tims and pizza, which they, pearls, yeah, mocks, tims and pearls, which they do, and it's done from the government, and it is assessed the same way, and the results are published, which I think it's really great. I think my presentation is gone. Yeah, all right. Anyway, I think I'm almost at the end of it. At the end of it, what I want to tell you all is, we have to make it to the national agenda. We need to meet our targets. So whose job is it? Whose job is it to make it to that? Can I hear that loud? Teachers and us, all of us. Yes, it's our job. So thank you for listening, for learning and reflecting. Thank you so much. Have a good day. Thank you.
They could ask questions. Could we?
Yeah, they're leaving almost, I think.
Yeah. We recognize that we're very much on a schedule, and next session start at 2 o'clock. But we also stand prepared to respond to any questions that you might have, either individually or collectively. The team will be right here up front. So thank you very, very much for spending a portion of this afternoon with us. Thank you. And well done, all 7 countries. I'm extremely impressed. Thank you.